Tennessee football continues to roll on the recruiting trail. JB Shabazz tell you all about the offensive tackle, the mountain that jumped into the class to make it 12 commits in a 14-day span. All that and more. It's your Monday Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Vols. I'm your host, Eric Cain. Appreciate you guys for being here. Big week right here on Locked On Vols. SEC Media Day is coming up this week. Tennessee will take to the podium tomorrow on Tuesday afternoon. We'll have coverage of that. Of course, mailbag edition of the show is tomorrow's show as well. So go ahead and send in those Twitter Tuesday questions on Twitter or X, on the YouTube channel. DMs are open as well, @_Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Major League Baseball draft happening right now, so we'll get a full reaction and we'll cover it all on a Tuesday Locked On Vols after it ends up later this evening on a Monday evening. So lots going on right now. No better place to be than right here on Locked On Vols. Your number one spot for news and entertainment for Tennessee football. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends over at Game Time, where you can download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Again, I'm your host of Eric Cain, a member of the VolQuest.com team, staying busy here in the month of July, covering Tennessee athletics. We're reacting to the commit of JB Shabazz here in segment number 1. Number changes. A lot of people care about it, but also intriguing about the number choice for Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar coming up in segment number 2. And then Blake Topmeyer of USA Today, he ranked the SEC stadiums from toughest places to play to weakest. Where does Neyland Stadium fall into that one? We'll react to his rankings, all that and more, coming up on a Monday show. All right, let's start with the big news. It was Friday night when he jumped into the boat. And of course, the first episode since that commitment here on a Monday morning. Want to talk all about JB Shabazz. JB Shabazz is a mountain of an offensive tackle. See a theme here, right? Gabriel Ascenda from Baylor School down there in Chattanooga, he is also a mountain of a defensive tackle. But what I like about these tackles that Tennessee's gotten in the class so far, Ed Baker's more of an interior option. Those are the 3 offensive line commits so far. Big guys that have really good footwork. Big guys that can move. And you can always slide a tackle inside to play guard or center, Jesse Perry, if needed. It's harder to slide a guard out to play tackle. Like, take Trey Smith, for example. Trey Smith is one of the better Tennessee offensive linemen to ever play here, right? 6th-round draft pick, but that's only because of the medical concerns by the NFL. But obviously he's gone on and done pretty well, won a couple Super Bowls, playing under his second contract now for the Kansas City Chiefs. But even some of the best, it's difficult to slide a guard out to play tackle, where Trey Smith is obviously a guard, played some tackle here at Tennessee, but it's easier to do the inverse of that, tackle down into a guard. So we'll see what happens with JB Shabazz whenever he gets here, but 6'6", 280 pounds of a man, right? From the Winston-Salem area in North Carolina, a 4-star rated prospect. He is considered the prospect number 352 in the country, the 27th ranked offensive tackle, and the 19th ranked player out of the state of North Carolina. Again, an On3 industry ranking of 4 stars. He is a 4-star, number 56 nationally by On3's rankings. Again, On3 very high on JB Shabazz, and Tennessee made him a priority, right? Tennessee made him a priority for quite some time. South Carolina didn't go away in this one. Ohio State very much wanted JB Shabazz to be in their class, but Tennessee got him in on official visits. Really kind of the first time Shabbaz was on campus and sold him. And as he told Austin Price, my colleague over at VolQuest.com, once he got on campus, he knew, right? He knew that Tennessee was going to be a place for him, and he went ahead and made his public announcement on Friday evening. You look over the impact analysis written by Matt Ray, my other colleague over at VolQuest.com, and this is the scout on JB Shabazz from On3's Director of Scouting and Rankings, Charles Power. Quote, JB Shabazz is a big, powerful tackle who I think really showed nice improvement as a junior playing for one of the better programs in the Winston-Salem area in North Carolina. The first thing that stands out about him is that he is a really good combination of functional movement skills and functional power and play strength. He is light on his feet. He can really lock up defensive linemen and create movement in the run game. I think he fires up the ball and has I think he flies off the ball and has a lot of power at the point of contact. He can really be a people mover. He has good upper body and lower body strength. He is light-footed in pass protection and has good reactive quickness. He has made strides in that area. To get a better picture of his athleticism, you can watch him play basketball. Just a big, nimble mover at his size. I think he gives Tennessee another strong offensive tackle pool from the state of North Carolina. This is a guy who I think projects as a starter long-term. I think he can play both sides of the offensive line. I think he is what Josh Heupel and staff like along the offensive line, a guy who we have liked in the top 100 for a good chunk of this cycle. A really nice get for them out of the state of North Carolina. In quote, again, that is On3's Director of Scouting and Rankings, Charles Power. Interesting little tidbit in there, and I meant to mention this earlier at the top of the segment, but basketball player. He is a forward/center, obviously, at 6'6", at the high school level. Plays the 4, plays the 5, runs up and down the field, runs up and down the court very, very well. A dominant presence inside offensively, and really, really good, defensively as a rim protector at the prep level. And why I love this so much, and again, Charles even points out something that I mentioned to begin this segment: light on his feet, very athleticism, good footwork. Playing basketball in the winter helps with that tremendously. I mean, obviously he's not going to be playing basketball anymore, but basketball helps with the footwork. So sign me up for an offensive tackle, specifically a left tackle down the line that has a basketball background, because quick on the feet, really, really good footwork, and can play out there on an island to protect the blind side of your quarterback. Sign me up, and that is what I want to see right there for sure. So, again, this is now the third offensive line commit for the University of Tennessee, joining the likes of Gabriel Asenda, who 247 has him as a 5-star. So 247 very much high on Gabriel Asenda. On3 very much high on JB Shabazz. And then you throw in Ed Baker there, a 3-star that Tennessee got a couple weeks ago during this run. And he's an interior option, but Tennessee now has 2 offensive tackle options as well. I really like this class coming together for Tennessee, but specifically the offensive line, just because of the athleticism there in the trenches. Tennessee had a ton of guard bodies in the recent classes. Tennessee needed to replenish at the offensive tackle spots, and that's kind of what Tennessee has done. Tennessee now sits at 21 commits in the class. Been on a nice little run of 12 commits in the span of 2 weeks, about 12 commits, 14 days. Tennessee now has 1 5-star, of course, Faison Brandon. Tennessee now has 10 4-stars, and Tennessee has 9 3-stars. So that's kind of the class breakdown, what that looks like for the University of Tennessee right now. Following the commit of JB Shabazz, and again, at the time of this, I'm recording it later in the weekend, so I think the rankings have changed some because other teams have gotten commits over the weekend. But at the time of this recording now, Tennessee is sitting at 14th nationally and at number 6 in the SEC. Blue chip ratio is at 52%, so 14th nationally, 6th in the SEC. Blue chip ratio there is at 52%. Highest rated commit in the class, obviously, Faison Brandon. Second highest rated commit, TJ White, a linebacker. Third highest rated commit, another linebacker, and Braden Rouse was a big winner for Tennessee when he chose the Volunteers at about 8 o'clock on Tuesday night of last week. Gabriel Asenda, who we just mentioned, the other offensive tackle commit. He's the 4th highest rated prospect in this class. Tyreek King, the wide receiver from nearby Knoxville Catholic High School, getting a lot of run, no pun intended, getting a lot of hype this offseason as a wide receiver on the rise. Zach Groves, edge player. Then there's Legend Bay, Carson Sneed, Darion Alberts, JB Shabazz, Kedrick Golson II, Zayden Anderson, KJ McClain, CJ Edwards, Joel Combe, who is teammates with Braden Rouse, Braylon Outlaw, Darrell Rivers, Jamian Theodore, Javonte Smith, Luke Thompson, and Edward Baker. Those are the rankings, highest ranking to lowest ranking per the On3 industry rankings for the University of Tennessee's 21 commits for the class of 2026. So Tennessee continues to recruit at a high level. Obviously, Savion Hyder, obviously Tristan Keys. Those are the 2 heavy hitters left in the cycle that Tennessee is very, very much in on. On the offensive line, Tennessee's still in the hunt for Darius Gray. Tennessee's still in the hunt for Kamari Blair, who is an in-state prospect as well. That one's a Tennessee-Ole Miss battle. And, of course, Keys is currently committed to LSU, but I don't feel like that one's going to last, whether that's Tennessee or somewhere else. But LSU, Tennessee are the heavy hitters there. Savion Hyder, Tennessee, Michigan. And, Tennessee just continues to do a really good job of building this class. I mean, blink of an eye, right? Less than 17 days ago, Tennessee was sitting at 9 commits. And I joined a radio show, and the hosts were like, hey, what's going on with Tennessee's class, right? I mean, only 9 commits. What's going on right now? I said, just wait. They're about to go on a run. And lo and behold, 12 commits in the span of 14 days. The latest being 4-star offensive tackle from the state of North Carolina, JB Shabazz, who I really like the makeup of. All right, when we come back, number changes. Tennessee updated its online roster on Friday afternoon, and a number of players have been changing their numbers. This is nothing new in college football. Could be annoying. It is what it is. I'll tell you who has changed numbers so you know who's on the field making plays come this fall. That's coming up next right here on your Monday morning Locked On Vols. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, being in that queue, right? It's so annoying, only to lose your spot for a show that you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not about dealing with the stress of ticket shopping, but that's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting to a concert faster, getting those tickets easier than ever. Prices actually drop the closer you get to showtime, so you can save up to 60% off with killer last-minute deals. But it's not only about concerts, right? It's about sports. Action going on in your area, minor league baseball. Say, take Knoxville, for instance. Smokies playing downtown now. Tennessee football this fall. Basketball in the winter. Baseball in the spring. Whatever event is going on in your area, typically you can buy tickets to said events, sports, entertainment, and more on the Game Time app. You get views of your seats so you know exactly what you're paying for. Plus, the Game Time guarantee has your back with cancellation protection and so much more. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, put in the redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Welcome back into your Monday morning Locked On Vols. I am your host, Eric Cain. Don't forget, mailbag edition of the show is coming up tomorrow. So not only will we recap everything that you need to know about the Major League Baseball draft that started Sunday night, a lot of action there last night, right? Carrying on throughout today, on into 20 rounds. Who did Tennessee win with in terms of the signing class? Who's going to make it to campus? Transfer portal class? How high did Liam Doyle and Andrew Fisher, Gavin Keelan, Marcus Phillips, A.J. Russell, Tanner Franklin, Nate Snead, so on and so forth. We'll recap all about the Major League Baseball draft on tomorrow's show, plus we'll answer your questions. So send those in at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Tennessee and SEC Media Days, that's tomorrow afternoon. We'll recap that on a Wednesday morning Locked On Vols. So much more to get into. But here in this segment, I do want to discuss about the number changes. And I know a lot of people get annoyed by that. I mean, back in the day, you pick a number, you stick with it. I mean, heck, we all did that. I mean, when I was in middle school, technically middle school, I changed numbers every year. In high school, I picked my number and I stuck with it. In college, I picked my number and I stuck with it. I didn't change. But a lot of times, these players, not just at Tennessee, all over the place, are changing numbers, and for different reasons. I mean, everybody wants to be a single digit. The rules allow you in college football to where you can have the same number, duplicate numbers on your roster. They just can't be on the field at the same time. So it creates a bit of a headache for some special teams coordinators and all that, because you can't. There's a lot of times offensive and defensive players, say on punt team, punt return, stuff like that, can't be on the field at the same time, or that's a penalty. But single digit numbers come available. They want to get those. Plus, early enrollees in spring practice, Tennessee just throws a jersey at them, right? And they wear that in spring, and then they can earn a better number. So anyway, multiple players have been changing numbers, and that became public knowledge on Friday when the online roster was updated for the University of Tennessee. Here's what you need to know. On the offensive side of the football, well, first let's start with some new players, and we'll have more on Joey Aguilar here in a moment, but potentially QB1 for your University of Tennessee, Joey Aguilar, he's going to be wearing number 6 this year. So maybe he's your starting quarterback, but he's going to be wearing number 6 regardless. Colton Hood, defensive back transfer, is going to be wearing number 8. Mason Phillips, former quarterback in Northview Academy for Justin Anderson, he's going to be wearing number 13. Joakim Dotson, going to be wearing number 89. Josh Shell, the defensive line spring portal commit, going to be wearing number 97. Charles House III, who was a summer enrollee, a part of the signing class this past cycle, he's going to be wearing number 99. More on Joey Aguilar and the number 6 here in a moment. Offensively, it's important to remember, right? Because a lot of times it takes a couple games to remember, like, Brew McCoy's not number 15, he's number 5 now. Dylan Sampson is number 6 now. He used to be number 24. So Travis Smith wore number 80 in the spring. He's going to be number 1 this year for Tennessee. So going from 80 to number 1, Travis Smith. Peyton Lewis, interesting one, right? Because he plays Number 27, he's going down to number 2. So Peyton Lewis is going to be wearing number 2 this year. I love non-traditional position numbers that take low numbers, right? So Jack Van Dorselaer, freshman tight end. Tight ends in the NFL are 80-something, right? 89 was what he wore in spring. He's going to be wearing number 3 moving forward. I like that a lot. Mike Matthews going from number 10 to number 4. Rodarius Jackson, number 84 to number 5. Desan Brain, very much in the same vein as Jack Van Dorselaer, freshman tight end, wore number 88 in spring. He's going to be wearing number 7 now for the University of Tennessee. This one hurts. I absolutely loved watching Star Thomas wear number 33 in spring. Old school running back number, right? 3s. Let's go. 3s. Man, I love that. This one hurts. He's going to be wearing number 9 moving forward. Juwan Morris, freshman running back, wore number 31 in spring. He's going to be wearing number 19. Justin Baker, freshman running back, 28 in spring, going to be wearing number 20. Jeremiah Hurd, reserve offensive lineman, 60 to 51. Nick Moore, what up, Jeff County? Wore number 74 in spring, going to wear number 58 moving forward. Shamu Morov goes down from 79 to 74. Tommy Winton III, former Knoxville Catholic receiver, went from number 30 to number 84, and that is it on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, freshman defensive back Ty Redmond wore number 27 in the spring. He will wear number 4 moving forward. Love big boys and small numbers. Love this. Elijah Simmons went from, what was he, guys? He was number 51. And then he started wearing number 10 his last 2 years. David Hobbs, who I meant to mention David Hobbs when I was talking about JB Shabazz. David Hobbs, also a former basketball player, right, in the state of North Carolina, right, from the Charlotte area, not Winston-Salem. Extreme athleticism. That's a great point of reference when you want to talk about JB Shabazz. David Hobbs did the same thing. David Hobbs, number 53, down to number 5. Hello, love that. Big boys, small numbers. Marion Dye, another one, number 52 in spring, number 9 moving forward. Caleb Beasley was number 25. He's going to be wearing number 10. He's going to be playing a ton of safety this year for Tennessee. Jordan Burns, linebacker, number 54. Now he'll wear number 11. Love number 11 as a linebacker jersey number. I wore number 11 some back in my day in baseball and in football. Love the number 11. That's a good number there. I'm going to make this about myself, right? Jaden Harmon wore number 48. He'll wear number 12. Ethan Utley, another big boy, small number 97 down to number 17. Trey Poteet wore number 36 in spring. He'll wear number 21. Dylan Lewis, another freshman defensive back, wore number 34. He'll wear number 24. A lot of these freshman numbers very undesirable that they get in spring. That's why they want to change. Timothy Merritt, another freshman DB, wore number 35. And again, you saw this, these guys were wearing number 36, wearing number 34, wearing number 35. They were always going to change. Timothy Merritt will wear number 25. Jaden Perlotti, freshman linebacker, wore number 41 in spring, will wear number 27. Emmanuel Okoye from number 98 down to number 34. Carson Gentle from number 95 down to number 35. That's what he wore in high school, I believe. And Christian Gass, number 46 down to number 44. Okay, so those are the number changes. Some notable ones there, obviously. Mike Matthews changing jersey numbers. Peyton Lewis changing jersey numbers. A couple of the freshman receivers. So Star Thomas, a transfer. Defensively, David Hobbs. I mean, there's some Caleb Beasley. There's some notables in there. But let's take a closer look at Joey Aguilar's decision to wear the number 6 jersey. He wore number 4 at App State, and obviously Ty Redmond's wearing number 4 on the defensive side of the football, and Mike Matthews is now wearing number 4 on the offensive side of the football. So Joey Aguilar is wearing number 6. Shout out to Adam Sparks over at Knox News. He put out a story kind of doing a deep dive into the number 6 and what quarterbacks throughout the University of Tennessee's history wore number 6. Well, up until the 1970s, there were a lot of double-digit numbers at quarterback, and Heath Schuler still did that in the 90s. So there wasn't a lot of quarterbacks that wore single-digit jersey numbers until around the 1970s or so. Some of those, the first one that did that to wear the number 6 jersey number for Tennessee was Jimmy Streeter. Jimmy Streeter, record-breaking dual-threat quarterback. He wore the number 6 jersey in the late 1970s, okay? Steve Alatorre wore number 6. He was a part-time starter at quarterback in the 1980s, but he ended up switching to a double-digit number 16. So Jimmy Streeter is notable. These are the quarterback positions. Alan Crockle wore number 6 while at Tennessee, and, of Of course, he had a great baseball career. He was a first-round draft pick in 1984. Tyler Page, Brandon Hines, and Mike Wingens also were the number 6 here in this century as well. So no quarterback, no big-time quarterback at least, outside of maybe Jimmy Schroeder, has wore the number 6 here at the University of Tennessee as the quarterback number. But the number 6 has been very, very good, at least during the Josh Heupel era, right? Byron Young, tearing it up in the National Football League right now. He wore number 6 ball at Tennessee. Dylan Sampson switched to number 26. It's funny, Aaron Beasley and Dylan Sampson both were number 24, and they switched down to number, I believe Aaron Beasley was 24, and they both switched to number 6 at the exact same time. Dylan Sampson, of course, best single-season running back, single-season running back in Tennessee history in terms of stats. Aaron Beasley was Tennessee's second leading tackler in 2023, team captain in 2024, had a fantastic Orange Bowl. Alvin Kamara, before Josh Heupel, he wore number 6 here at Tennessee. J.J. McCleskey wore number 6. There were some other ones as well. Denarius Moore wore number 6. Alontae Taylor before he switched to number 2, or did he start at number 2 and go to number 6? I can't really remember. It's been a couple years. Alontae Taylor wore number 6 as well. So yeah, there's been a lot of good number 6 jersey numbers here at Tennessee, worn by some players who have gone on and done a lot of great things. So if Joey Aguilar is the starting quarterback for Tennessee, maybe he makes a dent in the number 6 jersey of the quarterback position. It's been quite some time since that has seen a whole lot of action at that position, but first he's got to go out, of course, and win the job, and we'll see if he does that. Training camp starting, just a little over 2 weeks, and of course we'll have you covered right here on Locked On Vols. All right, when we come back, still got a lot to get into. Blake Topmeyer, Knox News, USA Today, used to work for Knox News, now he's more regionally, USA Today, broke down a ranking system for SEC football stadiums. We'll get into that. Where does Neyland Stadium fall in his ranking system? All that and more coming up next as we continue on here on this Monday morning, Locked On Vols. So we've seen The Athletic do it. We saw EA Sports do it. And so everybody's kind of jumping on board and kind of breaking down and ranking stadiums in conferences. And, of course, the biggest conference there is in terms of this conversation is the Southeastern Conference, for sure. Top to bottom, best league, obviously, and most passionate fan base and all that and more. So Blake Topmeyer of USA Today took his turn in doing this. Blake's a good guy, really, really good at his job. Used to be on the Tennessee beat when I first started out. He does really good work. I don't agree with all these rankings, but I'm going to read you a list. I'm going to read his list from 1 through 16. But Blake Topmeyer, who has been on this Tennessee beat before, he ranked Neyland Stadium at number 3. This is what he had to say. Quote, Tennessee fans are ruthless. Former Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield described experiencing a different type of loud while playing as an opponent in Neyland, and when Rocky Top plays on a loop, it's psychological torture, is what he had to say. So he ranks Tennessee at number 3. Others in front of Tennessee, the other stadiums, he rated Ben Hill Griffin Stadium of Florida number 1, Tiger Stadium of LSU number 2. I'll get into his reasoning here in a moment. Neyland Stadium number 3, Bryant-Denny Stadium number 4. You guys know my thoughts on that stadium. I don't think it's very good at all. Sanford Stadium at number 5 is really surprising to me. Williams-Brice Stadium at South Carolina number 6. I've seen that one up close and personal for sure. I can attest to that being up there in the rankings. Kyle Field, Texas A&M number 7. Jordan Hare Stadium, Auburn number 8. I'm surprised by that. I thought Jordan Hare would be higher on this list. Gaylord Family, Oklahoma Memorial Stadium will be up there at number 9. Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium, which is Texas, is at number 10. And then the last couple, Fraught Field, Missouri, number 11. Davis Wade Stadium, Mississippi State, number 12. Razorback Stadium, Arkansas, number 13. It was loud there last year. Of course, they were beating Tennessee. Vaught Hemingway Stadium for Ole Miss is number 14. Kroger Field is number 15 of Kentucky, and First Bank Stadium for Vanderbilt comes in the cellar here at number 16. Blake does a good job, man. He shows his work. I mentioned what he said about Tennessee. This is what he had to say. This is what he has to say about Ben Hill Griffin Stadium for Florida. Quote, Florida fans belt Tom Petty's "I won't back down" before the fourth quarter to create one of college football's most memorable scenes. I can't argue with that, man. I hate that Florida does it because that's really, really cool. He goes on to say, Florida boasts a .714 home field winning percentage against SEC opponents the past 10 years, compared to a .486 on the road in conference games. That's the definition of a home field advantage. So you might not want to like this or whatever, but hey, Blake did his homework here, man. Tom Petty's one thing that I won't back down, but the winning percentage against conference foes at home in the Swamp, Florida is .714 at home. On the road, .486 in terms of winning percentages the last 10 years. That is the definition of a home field advantage. And trust me, Tennessee fans know how hard it is to play down there. Tennessee hasn't won down there in the Swamp since '03. Here's to hoping the second to last game of the regular season, I believe it's November the 22nd, sings a different tune this year. It's not going to be so insufferably hot and humid. It might be, but it's not going to be like it is mid-September when Tennessee goes down there on the reg, right? So I can't wait to see Tennessee playing in the Swamp late November to see how different it is. But I can attest, covering a couple of games down there, it's a tough place to play for Tennessee and obviously everybody else. This is what he had to say about LSU or Tiger Stadium at LSU. Quote, former Arkansas running back Darren McFadden once said of Death Valley, the fans are relentless. That's especially true for night games. After LSU fans spend the day sucking down hooch, they're in no mood to take prisoners. Oh, that's funny. See, Tennessee's kickoff was 11 a.m. local time down there in 2022, so you kind of avoided that a little bit, and of course Tennessee got off the bus with a 14-0 lead. What he said about Bryant-Denny Stadium, quote, this is from Blake Topmeyer, Alabama fans spoiled by the Nick Saban era don't always roar as fiercely as the others listed above, but last season's game against Georgia served as a reminder that Tide fans can bring the noise when they feel they must. Alabama is nearly unbeatable at home the past 20 years. Well, yeah, Alabama's been one of the greatest programs in college football over the last 20 years, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to argue, and plus you're home, you're going to win those games. I've covered several games down there at Bryant-Denny, and maybe it's because at least during the Josh Heupel era that Tennessee has given Nick Saban and Alabama fits when playing down there. It's not impressed me. You don't impress me much. It doesn't impress me, right? I mean, it really doesn't. I'm not trying to take shots here. I mean, again, just like the Swamp, Tennessee hadn't won down there since '03, so obviously it's not been good enough for Tennessee to win. Tennessee blew a 20-7 halftime lead there in 2023. That was frustrating. Tennessee just dropped the ball literally in the second half. But I would have Bryant-Denny down a little bit. I mean, again, Alabama, to Alabama's credit, Nick Saban's credit, they've had one of the best programs in college football last 20 years when he was there. And you know, obviously with Kalen DeBoer, they missed out on the playoffs last year. Everybody's hyping them up. Probably going to be preseason voted third in the SEC this year, SEC Media Days this week. But I would have it down the list. I'd at least flip it with Sanford Stadium at Georgia. This is what Topmeyer has to say about Sanford Stadium at Georgia. Quote, Kirby Smart almost never loses at home. That's partially a credit to the environment between the hedges. Georgia fans literally bark their way into the stadium. Sometimes the stadium noise isn't quite elite, but when challenged, this venue can rumble. I have covered 2 games down in Georgia, and it has been keep in mind, too, I haven't been covering games on the road really, just since the last couple of years. I've gone to games as fans on the road in the SEC, but I've been traveling the last 4 or 5 years on the road. So I haven't been to every single venue, and I haven't seen multiple games at different venues outside of a couple, right? But I've covered 2 games. I've been to a couple other games there in Athens, but it is always so loud, so loud. So I'm kind of surprised that Sanford Stadium is number 5 on his list. 2022 comes to mind, South Carolina, obviously. Said, quote, the Gamecocks peck above their weight room at home, playing in one of the SEC's most underrated venues. The stadium comes alive when Sandstorm plays and the fans wave white towels chanting USC, USC. It was on fire that night against Tennessee back in 2022, that is for sure. Some other games that I've covered games in, Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. I remember being in Oklahoma last fall, and walking out of the stadium around some media, or I guess it was walking up from the press conferences when fans were still making their way out of the stadium before we went up to the press box. They were talking about how that was like one of the best environments in like 20 years at Oklahoma. And I remember sitting there like saying it was good. It was not bad. It was good, but like it wasn't anything like week to week in the SEC, right? So I was kind of my thought leaving there. Good environment. If that was one of the best environments over the last 20 years for Oklahoma, but nonetheless, I thought it was pretty good. Covered several games. I've covered 2 games in Missouri. I've covered a game in Arkansas. I've covered several games in Kentucky. I've covered several games at Vanderbilt, and those stadiums don't really do much for me. But Tennessee at number 3, hard to argue, because I think universally, if you ask this question, like, hey, who's got the toughest venue in all the SEC football, right? You're probably going to say LSU. But I think LSU, I think Florida, I think Neyland Stadium, and probably from the neutral party, they'll say Bryant-Denny. But again, for me, firsthand experience, I've never been that impressed with the atmosphere at Bryant-Denny Stadium, but that's just me. All right. Good work there by Blake Tottmeyer over at USA Today. You can go read his entire story. He put it out last week. He ranks Neyland Stadium number 3, toughest places to play, ranking the venues across the Southeastern Conference. Loaded show here on Monday. Appreciate you guys for being here. Again, massive week coming up, big time week. A lot to talk about, lot to react to. Take your questions on tomorrow's show, mailbag edition of the Locked On Vols, you everydayers. The time is now to send in those questions. Comment on the YouTube channel, @_Cain or DMs, tweet me, whatever you got to do. We'll recap the Major League Baseball draft, everything that was, some of the big wins, some of the losses for Tennessee baseball. And, of course, we'll get you set for Tennessee football at the podium Tuesday afternoon for SEC Media Days. The highlights coming out of Tuesday's SEC Media Days for Tennessee. That'll be on a Wednesday show. All that and more right here on Locked On Vols. Can't thank you enough. Same time, same place. We'll do it again tomorrow. This is Locked On Vols.